Tell us about, how did these inventors find you, or did you actually walk trade show floors and find them? How did this come about?
Well, we're probably over 20 million mistos now,
Oh.
but good question. But just, hey, doubly back before I answer the question, I work on both the company and the inventor side. And like I'm sure you do, but you probably work a little bit more with inventors because they may be paying the bill. But it is two different cultures. And translating those two cultures is what's really critical in the space that I'm in. So yeah, as far as how I got started, I graduated from college a few years ago. Celebrating a birthday tomorrow, so it's gone quickly, I'm telling you. But I started, yeah, fellow Virgo, there you go.
Yep. Mine's the 26th, so.
Oh, nice. Well, we certainly have our ways, don't we? But I went to work for a store, because you have a background in New York, called Abraham and Straus. I don't know if you remember it, but
yeah,
we were Brooklyn based. So I worked on Fulton Street in Brooklyn, and I became a buyer there. I worked there for 6 or 7 years, and I was a buyer. I came up through the housewares ranks. So that gave me sort of the background to get back out to Connecticut, start my own stores, the Complete Kitchen, the Good Food Store. And I had a cooking school. I had a number of locations, and I had about 65 employees. And we were into upscale products. I launched many new products in my store. The Nespresso coffee system, I sold the first 500 machines in America before anyone had heard of them, only because the head of Nespresso came over from Nestle's and moved to Greenwich, and I had a store in Greenwich, Connecticut. So, we were just in the right place at the right time, which is probably the generic answer to your question. But I launched many, many other products. So one day, an inventor came into my store in the fall of 1997, and his name was Tom Risch, and he had invented the Misto. And Misto is an olive oil sprayer. He was showing it to people, mostly men who didn't cook, who didn't understand the product at all. And he was getting a lot of rejections for it. And he showed it to me, and I said, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen, because we had talked a lot about it in our cooking schools, the ability to spray oil. It's not easy because oil has a heavy viscosity. So it takes you can't just spray it like you spray water. So there wasn't really a device that could do that. And the only thing that was on the market was Pam. And Pam, right, which is about 100 million cans a year sold in food stores, unfortunately uses a low-grade vegetable oil, has preservatives in it, is not good around the flame because it uses a protein gas to fire it. And when you're finished with it, you throw the can away, and there's enough cans of Pam thrown out every year to circumnavigate the globe. So Tom came up with this, the nozzle's patented, and he showed it to me. And at this point, I had never really met an inventor before. I had sourced products from around the world, gone to trade shows, but they were always ready and packaged to go. So I said to Tom, I'll take 100 of them right now, and we'll start selling them. And he said, well, we haven't actually made any. There's a prototype. First time I had heard the word prototype.
Right.
So this was in the fall of 1997. So I had a lot to learn. Obviously, you can tell from my book, I've learned a lot along the way. But the whole thing fascinated me. Eventually, I helped Tom do the marketing and sales to get it out. We actually made the product in Connecticut, had to set up the tooling, employees to make it, and so forth. And in the beginning, we were making 20, 30 a day, and then we were making 500, 600, 700, and that type of thing. And it was the classic American success story. Started selling it in gourmet shops. Then because of my A&S background, I knew all the buyers at Macy's, Bloomingdale's, and around the country. And I was the perfect person to sort of take it out. We sold 10,000 to Bloomingdale's, set up a big display, took an 8-foot-tall Misto right down the elevator stairwell at Macy's Herald Square. This was before 9/11, set up displays there. And we sold 1.2 million Mistos the first year, made millions of dollars. And it was like, I was just, to me, it was like the most amazing thing that ever happened. So I got a little taste of the American dream. And at the end of the day, it was Tom's company. He was the inventor. I was there to be helpful, but I profited enormously from it. And then we eventually, he didn't want to do new products. He was ready to, he didn't really have to work anymore after that. And although he did, so I went on to other products. My next product was a complete failure. It's called Stir Chef. I won't get into the details of that, but it was an automatic stirring device that did not work, sell well. I didn't do my due diligence. Took a lot of orders, very successful at trade shows, sold hundreds of thousands into stores. but it didn't sell on the floor. So nobody paid their bill. And I went through a very painful experience. People can read about that in my book, Inventor Confidential. Then I came back with Smartsman. So all of these were projects. I met people out of the blue, but it basically evolved into my saying, I changed my business model and I said, you know what? Rather than chase down inventors, split money with them, take money from them, I could see already in my research that inventors were getting taken advantage of by people around the country, even though not by me. I had actually supplied value, didn't take a dime till we made money. But I was seeing more and more this sort of platform out there where basically a lot of what I call marketers, you can call them BS artists, whatever you want to call them. They're out charging inventors and telling them the path to gold mines and all this other nonsense. And I realized that this is a tough industry and hard. And I realized that if I wasn't going to take money from inventors, where was I going to go? And that ended up being companies. And I ended up from my A&S days knowing a lot of the principles of a company called Lifetime Brands, which was a publicly traded company on NASDAQ under LCUT. 2,000 employees and $1 billion in sales and so forth, 45 brands. We worked out this program to do an open innovation program. So that was my launch into that. They paid me. I started doing other companies. So I was able to have the bully pulpit in speaking honestly to people without having to worry about cash flow. Because when you have to worry about cash flow and doing sales in our business, where there's so much failure, then you end up telling whatever story is necessary to get people to send their money in. So you get back to that personal injury, weight loss, property flipping nonsense that the people chase down. So that's sort of the simple evolution of how and by the way, along the way, I enjoyed getting involved in my nonprofit local inventor organization, getting involved with the UIA, which is the largest nonprofit national leader, getting involved in Washington, D.C. politics, and giving a lot of my time back, since I had been financially successful, to the community in ways to help and advocate for their rights, because inventors are under a lot of pressure these days in a lot of ways from large corporations that started on the right track, but now that they're up in the tree fort, are trying to pull the ladder up, and no girls allowed.
Yeah.